God also showed Ezekiel what the teacher's attitude should be, and what kind of change he should bring about in his disciples. Son of man, he says, take a tile and lay it before you, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem. Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 1. This means that the teacher should transform his disciple from clay into a holy temple. The words, and lay it before you, are particularly significant, for the disciple will quickly improve if he is continually in the sight of his teacher. The constant influence of a good example marks other souls with its own impress, so long as they are not completely stubborn and insensitive. The reason Gehazi and Judas succumbed, the first to theft and the second to treachery, was that they withdrew from the sight of their teachers. Had they remained under the restraining influence of their teacher's eye, they would not have sinned. God likewise indicates that the disciples' negligence endangers the teacher himself when he says, "And you shall set a frying pan between yourself and the tile, and it shall be a wall between the tile and you." Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 3. For if the teacher wishes to avoid the punishment suffered by a lazy disciple whom he has changed from clay into a city, he should tell this disciple of the chastisement that awaits those who relapse, and then his words of warning will serve as a wall separating the innocent from the guilty. That is what God means when he says to Ezekiel, "Son of man, I have set you as a watchman over the house of Israel. And if you see the sword threatening one of them, and do not give him warning, and he dies, I will require his soul at your hand." Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17 through 18. Moses made such a wall for himself when he said to the Israelites, "Watch yourselves, so that you do not try to follow them after they have been destroyed before you." Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. For if someone does not watch his mind attentively, he will find that, after he has cut down the passions, the images of past fantasies begin to emerge again like young shoots. If he constantly allows these images to force their way into his intellect, and does not bar their entry, the passions will once more establish themselves within him. Despite his previous victory, he will have to struggle against them again. For, after being tamed and taught to graze like cattle, the passions can become savage once more through our negligence and regain the ferocity of wild beasts. It is to prevent this that Scripture says, "Do not try to follow them after they have been destroyed before you." That is, we must not allow our soul to form the habit of taking pleasure in fantasies of this kind, and so to relapse into its previous wickedness. Realizing this, Jacob hid the images of the strange gods at Shechem and destroyed them up to the present day. Genesis chapter 35, verse 4. For he knew that to look at such things and constantly to think about them harms the mind by impressing upon it clear and distinct images of shameful fantasies. Our struggle against the passions should hide and destroy them, not just for a short time, but up to the present day, that is, for all time, since the present day is coextensive with every age, always referring to the present moment. Now, Shechem means to shoulder, thus signifying the struggle against the passions. Joseph was sent to Shechem and fought an arduous battle, there against the passions. Genesis chapter 37, verse 12 through 28. Likewise Jacob said that he took Shechem by sword and bow. Genesis chapter 34, verse 26. Meaning that he subdued the passions after a hard struggle, hiding them in the earth at Shechem. Now there is evidently a difference between hiding gods at Shechem and placing an idol in a secret place. The first action is praised, while the second is condemned, for Scripture says, "Cursed is he who puts an idol in a secret place." Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 15. To hide something completely in the earth is not the same as putting it in a secret place, for what is hidden in the earth and no longer perceived by the senses is in time erased even from the memory, whereas what is put in a secret place may escape the attention of others, but it is constantly seen by whoever put it there, and so the memory of it is kept fresh, since it is carried about secretly as an image in the mind. Every shameful thought formed in the mind is a secret idol. It is if it is disgraceful to disclose such thoughts to others, it is also dangerous to set them as an idol in a secret place, and it is even more dangerous to search for images that have already been made to disappear, since our mind readily inclines towards a passion that we have previously expelled, and we are drawn towards it by sensual pleasure.